Truman takes over after the
Hey
death
guys,
of
and
FDR.
welcome back to LH's Learning Lounge.
Which is kind
Today
of
we're going to be doing a
sucks
speedrun,
for him
which is
because
all of the questions we can't answer,
it's
or
very
that might not
shortly
take
into
too
FDR's
long
term.
to answer.
Him and FDR
So
aren't
firstly,
even
we
that
have
close yet, okay?
a wonderful
And
suggestion,
FDR just
the
flipping
psychology
dies,
of
okay?
racism.
So anyways,
Sadly, I don't think that they
he
cover
has
this
a very
one
interesting presidency
quite in the depth this
with
person
a
is
lot
looking
of
for
hallmark
in psych
events.
classes.
So
my
he's the
best
one that
bet
has
for
to
this
choose to
person
drop
would
the
be
atomic bombs on
to
Hiroshima
maybe
and
consult
Nagasaki.
Google
He
for
sees
this
the start of the
one,
Cold War
but, you know,
and the implementation of the
curiosity is always
Marshall
welcome.
Plan
Good
to
question.
aid European construction.
Sackett,
And
well,
the establishment
I'll
of the
let
United States,
Sackett
the United
answer this
Nations,
one.
and the beginning of the
I'm
Korean
Sackett.
War. And he starts the
Thanks
Truman
for
Doctrine,
watching.
which is saying we're
Thanks,
going to
Sackett.
contain communism globally,
Well,
okay? We're not
thanks,
going to
Sackett.
fight
I
it
hope
where
that
it
was a great
already is.
explanation for
I'm not going to
everybody.
go to the Soviet Union
I
and say
couldn't
no
hear it
more
on my
communism
end,
for
but maybe you
you.
guys could.
I'm not going to go
I'm
to
Sackett.
the new
Sackett, we
Thanks
get it.
for-
Okay, Sackett.
Communist
let me go back.
Party and say no more
Okay,
communists for
then
you.
we have another
I'm gonna
wonderful
say
suggestion.
no
Skip the
more
Ohio
taking communists,
Riz. That
any
hurt to
communism
say.
anywhere where it isn't
Well,
already,
Skippy
okay?
refers to the surveillance videos
He
popular
works
on
on civil
YouTube.
rights in
I
the
think
Fair
everybody's
Deal,
seen
except
clips of them.
a lot of them face resistance. He's going through the Red
And
Scare at
the
this
word
point.
skibbity
It
is
really sucks to
basically
try and get
meaningless,
things done
and just
with
a simple
McCarthyism
reference to the
if you
video
didn't know.
series.
Anyways,
And
he'll get more into
Ohio,
his
I
presidency
mean, it's not really
in
about the state of
1802
Ohio.
with
It's
World
just
War
kind
II.
of slang
Anyways,
for something that's strange,
Eisenhower,
weird, cringe, or dumb. And
so his presidency is really marked by
it
the
kind of
Cold War.
came from memes that were
With
like it's all
containment
Ohio
and the
arcade
Eisenhower
and X in
Doctrine,
Ohio,
which they're trying
which
to.
were
This is
online meme
specifically
culture
in the Middle East, trying to
2020s.
counter Soviet influence.
Kind of similar to
So we
the
see later,
Wyoming
much
isn't
later,
real memes.
like
So the 2010s.
at this point, the Soviet Union is most definitely
and
trying to
Riz,
exert power
I
in
actually
the Middle
quite like
East,
this
right?
one.
We see
It's
this
a
later
shortening
with
of the word charisma.
Afghanistan,
So
but this is
yeah,
not in his
if you
presidency. But if you need
have
proof
a lot
that
of
they were trying
success
to do
with
that, they are.
with romantic prospects,
he sees the end of the
you
Korean
have
War,
good Riz.
interstate highway system,
hope that
which
helps.
is very big for his presidency,
Next
right?
is how to be cranking, how to
Advancements in
crank
civil
90s in
rights,
Fortnite.
and
Now, I have a
we see the
single
integration of
victory
schools
royale
with the
under
Browning
my
Board of
belt.
Education ruling, which
So,
he strongly.
I'm actually just gonna be reading this one because
forces
I can't build
state
to save
governments
my
to abide
life.
by this,
So,
right? And does this mean that he's a wonderful person
stand
that
on a
hates
ramp
segregation? No.
in this
right?
space
His
above
whole
you
thing
must
is
be clear.
The Supreme Court told me I have to.
Yeah,
right?
so
I don't want a
basically,
lawless land without law and order, right?
I hope this makes no sense to me as
a
the person reading it. I don't know how to
of
crank 90s.
anti-segregation. Is one thing you have to keep in mind, okay? He's doing this because the Supreme Court said you have to integrate schools, and they're not doing it, and he respects the country's authority more than anything else, okay?
And then,
he sees
as
the
long
Suez
as
crisis,
you
the
can
U2
create a ramp
incident,
that's turned
nuclear arms
90
race,
degrees, you can create a viable 90.
Avoid
So, yeah, basically, in order to lay the other
JFK,
ramp
we see
at a
Cold
90
War
degree angle on
diplomacy
top of the
to
other
the
ramp,
max, right? The
all
world
you have to
almost
do
blows
is
up
like
with the Cuban
build
Missile
one
Crisis
more
with Khrushchev.
structure because it can't float, but it can float on top of something.
He promotes
I
New
don't know how to describe
Frontier.
that, but do I have a picture on here?
He
I feel
aims
like
to
I
advance
added
civil
one,
rights.
but
Once
maybe I
again, hard to do in this point
Yeah, so you see this, you see that little floor that lets you crank
he
the
sees
90.
space exploration.
Anyways.
By the way, we land the first person on the
Shaw's
moon.
material
I don't
collective
actually
choice.
do we do it this
Actually
time?
asked him about this one.
I
He
thought
said
we landed
cotton,
the
I'm
first
pretty
person
sure,
on the
but
moon
I
on
can't really
in
remember.
65.
But that's a really weird question.
I
Actually,
can't remember.
I
Sorry,
really
everybody.
encourage that curiosity.
Don't say that
was
in
weird,
essay.
Mark. Anyways,
and then we see social welfare programs.
I don't know why this one has
total flop though was the
I don't know why
band
this one has a
invasion.
transition on it.
That
To
really
be
was
honest
bad.
with you,
We see more
but,
involvement in Vietnam, which Americans
I think
really
I forgot to
don't
write
like.
on the slide.
But
to
the
be honest,
Green
I don't have an
Berets,
answer
by
for
the
you.
way,
I don't
remember that
invest in
name,
the stock
Green
market.
Berets. He sends them as
My
advisors,
best
not as
bet
troops.
is get a financial
But
advisor.
they all,
I don't
for
know.
all intents and purposes, they are troops. Just
Don't make dumb investments. Don't listen to Dave
do the
Ramsey,
Atlantic
I
Progress in Latin
suppose.
America.
And I don't remember that other lady that also did financial advice, but I remember that she had a pixie cut.
R.I.P.
But I can't
His
remember
family's
her
very
name.
interesting. You should go look into it.
But yeah.
Also, you put the
Maybe
embargo on
listen
Cuba at this
to
point. This is what like
people who
totally
are
cripples
certified
Cuba,
in
right?
it,
Like a lot of times people will say
YouTube
Cuba's like
stuff.
communisms could've, should've, didn't.
Okay,
because
now
of
this is one that's
the
going to take a
embargo.
while. We got a
Then
full HOA
we don't-
review.
we wouldn't-
Based
we
on the
can't
time
see
of the
what
suggestion, I'm
communism
guessing
could've
that
possibly
they're
been in
asking about
Cuba.
HOA 1.
I mean, my guess is
So
still
basically,
not
the
that
first
good
thing we do
because
is
Fidel
HOA 1 is
Castro
Cuban
was kind of a
Revolution,
flop.
which I don't
But,
like that they called it Cuban
that's an
Revolution
interesting
because it
point to
really
make,
isn't.
is
That's
that
really
the
more
embargo
referring
really
to Fidel
crippled them.
Castro.
And he
It
bought
really
like
is
a
the
bunch
Cuban
of Cuban
independence
cigars
movement.
before he didn't.
So basically,
I'm trying to think of like
last
one thing I had
attempt
to say on this one.
at freedom from Spanish rule, okay? At this point, Spain's been hanging on for a really, really
let's move
long
on.
time. And
LBJ.
Cuba is like their last
So,
stronghold,
he
right?
had
They've
the
been
Great
holding up on
society,
not doing too
right?
good.
So
They've lost most
his
of their
goals,
colonies,
the
right?
goals of the Great Society.
So the
Remember
figure
this.
you
Remember this.
should
Remember this.
know in
Eliminate
regards
poverty
to human
and
independence
racial
is Jose
equality.
Marti.
Okay,
You should
not
know him.
eliminate racial
Okay,
equality.
he's
He
the
wants
big guy.
racial
He
equality. Sorry, I
is
phrased that
the
weird.
guy
But
of human
we see
independence, I would say.
initiatives like Medicare,
Right? He's
Medicaid,
guerrilla
Civil
warfare
Rights Act,
to fight
and Voting Rights
Spain.
Act.
Spain responds
Okay,
very very brutally, okay?
A notable one,
They
too, was
starve
Head Start
people,
with
they slash and burn, all
the
this
programs
stuff.
for preschoolers,
And basically,
low-income
the
preschoolers.
U.S. catches wind of this, and they're like, whoa, Spain, this is
it's
totally
really
messed
overshadowed
up.
by the Vietnam War,
And
which
in
people are very, very,
newspapers,
very mad
they
about.
start playing up
People marched outside of his window yelling, "Hey, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?" Right?
Okay.
At this point,
Spanish-American
Vietnam War
blame the main
not
on Spain,
popular
right? The main blew
at all,
up.
right?
It was
He
kind
doesn't
of
even
fueled by yellow
run for
journalism.
re-election because he
and
is over it, right? I mean,
also,
having people scream that out your
Spain
window,
didn't really
that's
blow it
pretty
up,
terrible
okay?
when you're just carrying
Allegedly
on
they
the guy
did,
before
but they
you.
really didn't. Okay? And
yeah, also
after the U.S.
memorize
wins this
the
against
Voting
Spain,
Rights
the
Act of
emergence of global
64 and
power,
voting,
right? You just
Civil
beat
Rights Act of
someone that
64,
had
Voting Rights Act of 65. They are different,
that had
very
imperial stakes
similar
for like
in
hundreds
what
of
they
years,
do, but also very different in
and
what they do.
the
So
U.S.
remember,
gets Puerto Rico, Guam,
to
and the
differentiate
Philippines,
them.
which
and then Nixon's
Puerto Rico's not going to be happy about.
we see
and
actually some pretty
Cuba
significant
is not
foreign
happy
policy
with this
achievement, right? He reopened
nominal
relations with
independence, right?
China.
This is
I
independence.
know the HOA one
with
students
an
don't have Mr.
asterisk on it.
I don't have the
Okay,
sound sign, but
they're
there's actually
saying,
a photo on
yeah,
the wall
you're
of
totally independent, but the U.S.
Nixon
gets out of
meeting
hand
with
and
the
all your
leader of
affairs,
China in
basically.
'72.
So they're not really independent.
He pursues the Soviet Union through
McKinley,
arms control agreements.
he wants U.S. expansion,
and he sees the Apollo moon landing.
He oversees the annexation of the Philippines,
environmental
Puerto Rico,
protections,
and starts the military government.
He was a very deeply paranoid man.
Okay,
and
he's the one in that cartoon.
his second term get overshadowed by the Watergate scandal, where he had
baptizing
them.
that
Heathenistic
they broke in
Filipino child
to
in
the
that
Democratic
cartoon from
National Committee
the
headquarters,
1800s or
and
whatever.
they try to cover it up.
I think it was 1900s at this point. 1900s, okay?
He actually had
Roosevelt,
tapes from it.
He's
so
pursuing big
it's
stick
not known that
diplomacy,
he set them
okay?
to do that,
But
he
it's known
wants
that
the U.S. to
he
be
knew
dominant
that they
in
did
Latin
that
America,
and was trying to cover it
the
up.
Roosevelt Quarrel
He refuses
to
to give the
Monroe
tapes
Doctrine,
over.
yada yada
Still
yada.
takes
It's
Ted
found out
Martinelli's
he knows.
construction, okay?
He
He's
resigned
telling
from
them,
office.
back off everybody,
after
Latin
this,
America's
because this is
ours,
just
and we're
too much
going to have
to
our
handle.
hand at Latin American
But,
affairs.
that really
you
overshadows his
are
presidency,
not,
but he
okay?
did have some pretty notable
Taft promoted dollar diplomacy,
achievements.
right? U.S.
And then the
investment in Latin
Vietnam
America
War,
and East Asia,
which this
to
is
split
like
economic
slotted into
influence,
here. It
while
doesn't
once
end
again
in
reducing
LBJ's
European
presidency,
intervention.
but
Also,
it,
Roosevelt deeply disappointed in Taft.
and
Okay, we have to
after
remember that.
Nixon.
These two,
But
despite
I thought it was
seeming
best to
very
put it here
similar,
because it's
are
kind of
not
separate from
really.
the rest of the
Okay,
presidents.
I would say dollar diplomacy is almost
and this is
more U.S.-like.
kind
Okay,
of
protecting
kind of
economic
North Vietnam,
interests.
and
Wilson,
supported by the Soviet Union and China, and
quite
the non-communist
ironically,
South Vietnam was
championed
backed by
global
the U.S.
diplomacy. Right? He said,
Important to note,
"We want
Ho Chi
democracy.
Minh was not always
We'll
communist,
intervene
by the way.
militarily.
You will
to
learn this in
protect
HOA2.
that, right?
Remember this.
Mexico, Haiti,
He
Dominican Republic.
originally
He's actually protecting U.S.
just
interests and
wanted,
stability,
like,
not really protecting
Vietnamese independence for the most part, but he kind of gets
also
totally
a
ignored the
huge
Treaty of Versailles
racist that will
signings,
come into
and
play
they don't care what he
during
has to
World
say.
War
And then
I.
he turns more radical after this point.
Independence for
for really,
people
it's a
groups,
Cold
but
War.
some people
Like
groups,
this
he
is
says, I
like
actually
the
don't
Korean
think that
War,
you're smart
kind of
enough
a
to rule
physical
yourselves.
manifestation
So,
of Cold War
he's a total
ideologies,
big
right?
fat racist.
So the U.S.
Okay, getting on to the
involvement
Roaring
after both
20s.
talking
Also, I skipped World War I. You'll go over that in
but
depth in
it's
HOA2, so you
not
don't really need to
popular in
know
the United
that.
States. The United States
be
hates the
refreshed.
Vietnam War,
right?
They think
So,
it's
in
a
the Roaring
total waste
20s,
of time, a total waste
we
of
have
young
a
men,
decade of
right?
economic
And,
prosperity,
the
cultural
Viet Cong and North
dynamicism,
Vietnamese are kind of
social
beating
change,
the U.S. and they end up
and
beating
the
the U.S.
rise,
right? Because
they're
kind
not
of the
measuring
rise
the
of mass
war
consumerism.
in territory
I'd argue
gained
mass
like the US
consumerism
is. The
came
US is putting
later,
them on the
but
screens. This, I guess, is the beginning of
this many
mass
miles of
consumerism.
territory.
Also,
But
notably,
the Viet Cong was
jazz, there's prohibition, rise of
purposely
Hollywood,
retreating,
shifting
right?
gender roles with
They're fighting a
flappers
guerrilla
in,
war, right? They know that
the
they're not
UK and
going to
US.
win by lining their troops up and saying,
This
go
all
fight
comes to an end
Americans,
very
right?
quickly. Why?
They're
Because
purposely
they
ambushing
think
them,
we are on
booby
a high
trapping
right
them,
now.
right?
Oh my gosh, the
They're
economy is
blending in
so
with the
good. Let's keep
population,
doing
right?
risky
It starts to get to
That comes
soldiers'
back
heads
to bite,
too that you
okay?
can't tell who is an ally
And
and who
also,
isn't, right? You don't know
I
if that
forgot what I
police
was
on the
going to say
street
actually,
corner
but I have
is
one
secretly a
thing
member
to
of the
say
Viet
that is
Cong
kind of
or
a
actually a little boy trying to sell you something, right?
like
So
think like
and
Great
United States
Gatsby.
soldiers end up
And
doing
also,
some
this is a
pretty
trend that you should notice
devastating
world history.
stuff to
When
some
a people
Vietnamese
group
villages,
or when a group or
right?
generation grows
So
up
it ends the fall of
post-war,
Saigon
they
in
tend
75.
to stray from the cultural norms
So
more than they did
Vietnam's reunified
more
under
than
communist control. Actually, fun fact, Kissinger
generation
was
before them,
given
right? When you're the one actually
Nobel
fighting
Peace
the
Prize
war
for
as a
dealing
young
with
person,
Vietnam
you're more
earlier.
willing to obey.
And the reason that he refused to take it was because the fall of Saigon, he didn't create lasting
during
peace.
the war,
Not the horrific war crimes that
it didn't
he
really affect them very
allowed
much.
to
A lot of
happen.
them were
So that's a
involved
fun
in the
fact.
war itself.
So yeah, Vietnam
you'll
pretty
see
brutal.
that come up
The
later
United
in
States
the 60s.
is was not happy with it,
World
and the
War
Viet Cong
II
guerrilla warfare
to a
proved
greater extent
superior.
the Roaring Twenties. This is
in this
the
case.
whole new generation we're talking about in the 60s.
And
Anyways,
that's all.
So then we have
Thank
the
you
Great
guys for
Depression,
tuning into
obviously.
Toon Talks.
Lots of reasons for that one, but
I'm
most
so
of them are
glad
just,
that I could make these videos for
being
y'all.
stupid with financial decisions and
yeah.
thinking, well,
This
everything's
is the
great
last
right now,
one,
so
I
that means
think.
everything will be great
So,
forever. But anyways,
I'll see ya.
severe
I hope you guys
economic
enjoyed
crisis
them.
triggered by the stock market crash of FDR. Now,
Okay,
is the stock market
which
crash
is
of 1929 the only
kind of
cause?
sucks
No,
for him because
it's just
it's
the thing
very
that causes the
shortly
Great
into
Depression.
FDR's term.
This is
him and
the
FDR
thing.
aren't even that close
Without this
yet,
happening,
okay?
the Great Depression
And FDR just
wouldn't have
flipping
happened.
dies, okay?
Anyways, so
There's mass unemployment, bank failures, businesses collapse,
he has a very interesting
poverty,
presidency,
and the
but
U.S.
a lot
attempts
of
recovery
hallmark
of
events.
FDR's New
So,
Deal programs. Okay,
he's the one
I think
that
most
has
of us
to
know a
choose
lot
to drop
about
the
Great
atomic
Depression in
bombs
the
on
U.S.,
Hiroshima and
but
Nagasaki. In HOA1,
he
talking
sees
about
the
two
other
countries that
and
got hit
the
by the Great
implementation
Depression,
of the Marshall Plan
almost
to
the
aid
whole
European
world
get
got
hit by
touched
the
in.
Great Depression.
And the South Canada,
the United Nations,
who's deeply
and the
dependent
beginning
on
of the
United
Korean
States,
War,
even
and
in terms
to
of the
stay
Truman
deeply
Doctrine,
independent, right? Most
which
of their
is
big
saying we're going to
cities
contain communism globally,
correspond
okay?
to a
We're
United
not
States
going to
city,
fight
right?
it where it
Think,
already is. I'm not
Niagara
going to go to
Falls
the
and Soviet
Buffalo
Union,
right
it's
next
no
to each
more
other,
communism
right?
for you.
I'm not going to go
Or I'm trying to think of another one. Toronto
the
and New York,
new
very close
Chinese
together, right? They
Communist
kind of have
Party
their
and say,
sister cities.
no more
or,
communists for you.
But I'm gonna say
What's the other
no
one?
more taking
Vancouver and Seattle, I
communism
think.
anywhere
Anyways,
where it isn't already.
okay?
So
Anyways,
he works on civil
high
rights and
unemployment
a fair
and
deal.
drought in the prairies. So
Except
they
a lot
also,
of
like
face resistance.
resistance,
He's going through the Red Scare at this point.
there are some
It really
environmental
sucks to try
factors
and
like
get
the
the
Dust
Dust Bowl
Bowl
with
in
the
the
United
United
States.
States,
If you didn't
um,
know.
anyways,
Which people are very
he'll
mad
get
about
more into his
these protests
presidency
like the Onto Ottawa
in
track.
HOA2
And
with World
the
War II.
government is
Anyways,
kind of flopping right now. And two
Eisenhower,
names you need to know are R.B. Bennett.
so
Okay,
his
he
was,
was,
I believe,
his
a president
presidency
at one
really
point,
marked by the Cold
these are the
War programs. And
with
later,
containment
Mackenzie
in the Eisenhower
King's
Doctrine, which
more
they're trying to.
interventionist
This is
policies. Specifically
anyways,
the Middle East,
I don't
trying
care
to
that much
counter
about him,
Soviet influence.
do more research
So
on Europe,
we
but you
see
should know these
later,
names. You
much
should know them.
later.
Like,
Anyways,
at this point in
the Soviet Union
Argentina,
was definitely trying to exert power in the
Argentina's
Middle
doing
East,
pretty
right?
good
We
before
see
this
this later
point
with
they
Afghanistan,
are kind of the
but this
powerhouse
is
of
not in his
Latin
presidency.
America,
But
right? They're
if you
doing
need
pretty
proof
well.
that
They have a
they were
lot of
trying to do that. They are.
they have a lot of immigration
He
from
sees
Europe
the end
at
of the
this
Korean
point.
War.
Interstate highway system, which is
But
very big for his
they
presidency,
are
right?
export driven.
Advancements in civil rights
And
when
we see the integration of
agricultural
schools
prices
with the
fall,
Bradley Board of Education
unemployment
ruling,
rises,
he
and social
strongly
unrest rises.
like
He
right?
forces
Which
governments,
this is
state governments
exacerbated
to
by the
abide
amount
by
of
this, right?
immigrants.
And
Okay,
does this
you
mean that
have
he's a wonderful
huge
person that
German
hates everyone?
communities,
You
you
have
have
huge
huge
Italian
right? His whole thing
communities.
is the Supreme Court told me
You
I
have
have
big
to, right? I don't
Spanish
want a lawless
communities
land
of all
without law and
different
order, right?
kinds. You have
He's not that.
Basque, you have
He's
Catalan,
not a champion of
you
anti-segregation.
have Galician.
Is one
Like
thing you have to
that's
keep in mind.
those are
Okay,
ethnic
he's doing this
divides
because
themselves.
the Supreme
Okay?
Court said you have to integrate schools,
so,
and they're not doing it.
what
And
is
he
gonna happen? This
respects
is
the
Latin
country's
America, a
authority
military coup is
more
gonna
than anything
happen.
else. Okay,
So the 1930s,
he sees the
Suez
military
Crisis, the
coup.
U2 incident,
They oust
nuclear
his
arms
name
race.
is Uruguayan.
He's
They
Basque.
tried to
Basque
kind of
last names don't
avoid
translate well
confrontations with the Soviet
into
Union. Okay,
really any
Anyways,
other language. It's a nice
JFK,
way. Sorry,
we see
sorry.
Cold War
Uruguay
diplomacy
was difficult.
to the max, right? The world almost blows
and
up with the
then,
Cuban Missile Crisis.
who takes
with
over?
Well, the
Khrushchev.
Concordancia takes
Um,
over until 43,
and
they're very conservative.
he promotes New Frontier,
and they ruled through electoral fraud.
he aims to
suppression,
advance
and
civil rights.
repression.
Once again,
This
hard to
is
do.
not
Hard to do at this
surprising
point in time.
for Latin America. You'll see this with a lot of Latin
space
American
exploration
governments. By the way, we landed the first person on the moon.
Oh, you should
I don't
know. Actually, do we do it
implementing
this time?
import
I can't remember. I
substitution
thought we
and
landed the first person
industrialization
on the moon
to
in
reduce
65,
foreign reliance on
maybe we
foreign.
did. I don't know. I
To
can't
reduce
remember. Sorry, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Don't
Sorry,
say
guys.
that.
I'm not
I'm
feeling
gonna
too well today. I can't talk very good.
And then we see social welfare
reduce reliance on
programs.
foreign goods and stabilize the
Total
economy.
flop,
And
though, was the Bay of
if I
Pigs
remember
invasion.
correctly, they actually did pretty
That
good
really
at
was
that.
bad.
Argentina did
We
pretty
see
good at
more
this
involvement
point
in
if you
Vietnam,
ignore
Americans
the
really
terrible
don't like
repression
with the Green
and
Berets, by the way.
electoral
Remember
fraud
that
and lack of
name? Green
democracy.
Berets.
But other
He
than
sends them
that,
as advisors,
I
not
mean,
as
pretty
troops.
good. I mean, what
But
more
they
can you
all, for
ask?